Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Introduction to Linguistics. First and foremost, I would like to apologize in advance because I'm not used to taking videos of myself, so I might crumble. And also, I am hoping that everyone is already done reading their modules because definitely that will help you to understand our lessons for today. Now, Introduction to Linguistics. For us to be able to understand the Introduction to Linguistics, we must first know or define the meaning of linguistics. What is linguistics? When we talk about linguistics, it is actually the study of language, no? If we're going to Tagalize it, pag-aaral sa lingwahe, everything under language, how language is produced, the structures of language, the sounds that are used in producing language, and word for word, all of those stuff will fall under linguistics. Now, as English majors, specifically, we're going to study the language English itself. However, we're also going to take up some other languages just to make some comparisons, the differences and the similarities of English language among those other kinds of languages like Tagalog, French, Germans, etc. So that is linguistics. Those are the things that we're going to do under the introduction to linguistics. Now, it is said that linguistics is the study of language. So first, also, what is language? Now, if you can turn your modules to page 2, the first lesson there is what is language. Now, for us to understand what is language, well, we already know what is language is, no? Even though we don't know the exact definition, but we do know what is language. You and I and everyone else here on earth loves to talk, no? We love to speak out our mind, no? Sa classroom, kahit may teacher sa unahan, we talk, well, we speak. In churches, supposed to be we're praying and praising God, but we talk with one another. Chismis lang yan, chismis, chismis. In public places, like in public market, public park, everywhere, we love to talk. That is inhuman na. No? And also, according to Noam Chomsky, if we're going to study the human language, we are approaching what some might call the human essence. No? Ganda. And the distinctive qualities of mind that are, so far as we know, unique to man. So no further explanation needed. Alam na natin what is Noam Chomsky trying to say. What makes human special, unique, distinct among everyone else is we can actually speak. No? Don't confuse yourself in speaking and language. They are two different things. Hindi sila parehas. Although they goes together, however, hindi talaga sila magkaparehas. When we talk about speaking, it is actually our skill. And the language is the tool that is used for speaking or in general, for communication. Hindi natin kasi pwedeng sabihin isa lang ang language kasi ang dami-daming language niyan, no? So, maraming iba't ibang language ang pwede natin gamitin sa pagsasalita. I am actually speaking right now, but I'm using two different language. I'm using Tagalog and I'm using English. So, definitely, they're not the same. I'm speaking, that is my skill, that is your skill, that is everyone's skill as human. However, we do use different languages in accordance to the person we are talking with. Diba? So, that's the difference between the two. So, don't confuse yourself. The next topic is linguistic knowledge. So what does it mean? Now, from the word itself, knowledge. Our knowledge regarding language. So what does it says? Well, it only explains that if you know a particular language, you can speak that language. And you can be understood by a person whom you are talking with who uses the same language as you do. For further explanation or for further understanding, let's say, for example, well, I'm a Filipino, you're a Filipino, we both know the language of Tagalog. You can speak Tagalog and I can understand Tagalog, right? So if you speak in Tagalog, I will definitely understand that because I'm a Filipino who uses Tagalog, where in this case, we both know the language of Tagalog. Another thing about linguistic knowledge is it explains that everyone knows a language. No? Even a 5-year-old kid can understand you as long as you uses the same language. But that doesn't give the proof that you both know the construction or the content of the particular language. Let's say for an example, a very good example is from your module. It's stated there, my goddaughter who was born in Sweden and who now lives in Iowa is named Disa after a Viking queen. Well, the language is in English. We both understand language English, right? So we both know that the meaning of this particular phrase is the speaker's granddaughter is actually named after a Viking queen, which is Disa. And now she lives in Iowa, right? But she was born in Sweden. So that's the meaning of that. So we both know the meaning. However, it doesn't give the proof that you and I both know what does the content of this particular phrase and how does this phrase constructed. You might know that it is actually having two relative clauses, or without knowing that it is actually a relative clause. You might know that, but I don't. See the difference? Alright, so that explains what is linguistic knowledge. Knowledge of sound system. Different language has different sound system. We can easily identify where does the person particularly came from depending on how they pronounce the particular word. Let's say for an example, a word here in Tagalog, which is bato. We can identify whether a person is a Bisaya or a Chinese depending on how they pronounce the word. Say for example nga, the word bato. Usually Bisaya, after the sound of o, they make it u, right? Like instead of bato, they say batu. Like Chinese, bato, something like that. Ako, kuha bato, pukpok ko ulo mo, something like that. So yes, we can easily identify where does the person came from depending on how they pronounce the word. Now, another example of that is the word that. In English, we spell it as THAT. In phonetics, we spell it as DAT because we pronounce it as that. Now, French people pronounce it as that. No? Now, why is it important to know or have a knowledge in terms of the sound system of the particular language? It is important because as change in sound may change the meaning. No, let's say for an example like sun, the word sun. If you change the initial sound of S from sun, let's say we change it as D, than. It changed the meaning. It's no longer the sun. That means the son or your child, which is a boy, it became now as end, done. You see the difference? So that is why it is important to have a knowledge in terms of the sound system of a particular language. Arbitrary relation of form and meaning. Now, if you could read with me, if you do not know a language, the words or the sentences will be incomprehensible. Hindi mo maintindihan. Because the relationship between speech sounds and the meaning they represent in the language of the word is for most part an arbitrary one. So what do we mean by that? So for better understanding, let's define arbitrary. Pag sinabi nating arbitrary, no basis, walang dahilan, basta na lang ginawa, no? So according to this one, to this article from your module, if you do not know a language, kung hindi mo alam ang isang salita, wala ka talagang pag-asang maintindihan yon, no? Kasi the words are actually produced and made without a basis. Let's say for an example, the word fish. Have it ever come into your mind why do we call fish a fish? Or in Tagalog, bakit natin tinawag yung isda na isda? yung isda ba kapag lumundag, sumasabing, isda, 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 isda. Hindi naman eh. Diba? So, walang basis. There's no basis. It's arbitrary. One. So, definitely, your module is correct. If you do not know that language, there is no chance for you to understand the word or the sentences inside that particular language.